I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here under the lights to the World Center of Racing as we are at the Daytona International Speedway to kick off Speed Weeks for the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series Season 7 Daytona 500. Tonight, it's the qualifying session for the Great American Race. 42 drivers will be racing their way in. 40 drivers locked in via charter. 6 drivers will be fighting for the final 2 positions. And that will be, they're having to get in on speed. We will have 3 sessions, in a sense, here tonight. This first session will feature drivers that are first through around 32nd, 33rd in driver points from last year. The remaining drivers that were outside the top 30 in the points standings, as well as new drivers that didn't race last season, and rookie drivers, as well as the non-charter drivers, they will take part in the second upcoming session. 20 minutes each for these sessions, and the top 5 drivers from each of the 2 sessions will culminate the 10 drivers that will go out for single car qualifying to run for the pole position. We've had 6 different drivers sit on the pole for the Great American Race in the last 6 Duracell Next Gen Cup Series seasons. The most recent of those, RJ Bishop out of Young Motorsports. So we'll see if he can maybe try and get back-to-back poles in the Daytona 500. I believe we have, including him, 3 former pole sitters for the Great American Race that are going to be vying to be the first multi-time pole sitter for the Daytona 500. James Qualls won the pole back in Season 5, and Matt Haas won the pole back in Season 2. Matt Haas is the one of 2 drivers that has won a pole and the 500. Not necessarily in the same year, but has sat on the front row and finished P1 in their Duracell Cup Series careers. Drivers are starting to put down some lap times here. There is the aforementioned RJ Bishop, the defending pole sitter. The Monster Ford GT500. His teammate Dylan Young going to be running in the Ford Mustang GT500 a couple of races this season as well, as he's running right behind the defending Rookie of the Year, Zachary Fitzwater, in the 66. Times are starting to cycle in, so we'll bring up the ticker. Remember, the top 5 speeds from this session will move on to run for the pole in single car qualifying later on. All drivers taking part in this session will race. All drivers here, 23 of them in total, are chartered rides, so they will race in the 500 tomorrow afternoon. As Fitzwater with a nice toe there off of the 48 of Austin LaPlante. That's going to be what you're going to want to do, is be in a group. You see a group right here: Nick Gunther, Ryan Butcher, Caleb Fogler, Michael Norman. This is where the fast lap times are going to come in. Michael Norman right there, you see him getting the toe off the back of this group. He is currently second fastest on the board. Nick Gunther, who's also in this group, is currently the fastest. Our winner from the Clash last week. This, I think, will be a top of the board lap for Michael Norman. Let's see. 43.897. That is indeed P1 for Michael Norman. And Nick Gunther last week, he led more than two-thirds of the clash at Slinger. Very strong Mazda, and looking to follow it up with a strong qualifying effort here at the 2.5-mile super speedway of Daytona. Four-time winner last season, as we mentioned. Already got the first checkered flag here of season 7. Let's see if anybody from this group is able to best Michael Norman's lap time. Only driver so far to crest the 43s. Nick Gunther just crested the 43s with a 43.997, but that does not best Michael Norman's lap time, which is in the 43.8s. Still got over 15 minutes to go, so Michael Norman is not safe by any means, but I almost think that 43.8 might be enough to get him into the top 5 here to advance into the next round of qualifying. As we look at the defending champion, Charles Sanford. Last week did not exactly go his way. Got involved in a wreck, DNF'd in the clash, but that was a non-points race. Now, starting tomorrow in the Daytona 500, points are on the line. And of course, a different points format as well. Last year, 16 drivers that made it into the playoffs all had victories and were inside the top 30 in points. The points format to make it into the playoffs now, if you are in the top 10 overall in points without a win or a win, doesn't matter, then you're locked into the playoffs at the regular season's end. And then we have, in essence, 6 wild card spots to fill up the final 6 positions for the top 16 that would advance into the playoffs. Drivers with a victory highest in the point standings outside of the top 10 is Sanford and Fogler, a couple of former champions, going to make their way to pit road. Of course, Caleb Fogler in that conglomerate effort with Kyle Matthews and Stephen Paul III back in Season 5 to win the championship for S3 Motorsports. Rob Evans in the 65, the newly named Evans Motorsports. His teammate going to go on by him. As we've got a couple of drivers that bested Michael Norman. Actually, a number of drivers that bested Michael Norman. Let's see if we can find this pack. Here it is. Dylan Young right now, top of the board with a 43.039. He almost crested the 42s. Jessica Shelton up to second with a 43.1. Also with a 43.1, Nathan Ormond, who is sitting third. Then Nick Gunther and Zachary Fitzwater that we saw with that previous group. There's Shelton coming back onto the track. They are currently in 4th and 5th. Of course, here in Florida, Dylan Young featuring the Iron Gwazi along with We the Coasters on his Ford Mustang for the Daytona 500 weekend. The Iron Gwazi, the roller coaster, he's made known his favorite roller coaster from Busch Gardens. I believe it's Busch Gardens. He's gonna kill me if I get that wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Busch Gardens. It might be Universal now that I think of it. I don't remember. I'm looking this up just so that way I don't get yelled at. I'm not a roller coaster aficionado, so I don't off the top of my head. It is Busch Gardens. I got it right the first time. All right, good. Busch Gardens, Tampa. Got a couple of drivers that actually, since we are here in Florida, they're featuring Florida-based paint schemes. We'll see Nathan Ormond in just a few minutes. He's obviously, since we are in the state of Florida, home to the most magical place on earth, Disney World. He's got Disney Plus sponsoring his number 23, which right now sits third on the board. You're looking at another former champion from Season 5, Kyle Matthews, along with Mitchell Collins in the 33. Kyle Matthews has made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, won the championship in Season 5, finished 6th last season, was a multi-time winner last year as well. Destin Boland, this is going to be an interesting guy to follow here in Season 7. Last year, when he took the green flag for the Daytona 500, we knew absolutely nothing about him. By the time we got to the All-Star break, we knew everything about him. He ended up picking up 3 victories in the span of that All-Star break span. It was 3 wins in 5 weeks, just before and just after the All-Star race break. Advanced into the playoffs, and not only that, he finished runner-up to Charles Sanford for the championship last year. Lost out by 19 points, but as a rookie, 3-time winner, second in points in your first season, that's quite a bar to set for yourself. Now we'll see if he can get one position better and maybe be a multi-time winner again this year in his second full-time season with Young Motorsports. Well, this is the only driver in the field that has a pole and a Daytona 500 victory here at the World Center of Racing. Matt Haas won the pole back in Season 2, won the 500 in Season 5. And now looking to be a 2-time pole sitter. Right now he is scored 16th on the board. The only other driver that had a pole and a 500 win was Cole Baker. He had the pole back in Season 3 and won the 500 the year before in Season 2. There's the Disney Plus Ford Mustang I was referring to with Nathan Ormond. Nathan Ormond with his 3rd team in 4 seasons. Back in Season 3, he was with Joanna Atwood Motorsports. Last season with KB Racing Enterprises, and now over with M&M. There's his former teammate Keith Batson in the 39. Batson had a career year last year with 2 wins. Finished 7th in the playoffs. It was the 2nd time in his career that he made the playoffs in the Duracell Cup Series. There's the most winless driver in the Duracell Cup Series, Jose Mills, though he went winless last year. Looking to get back to victory circle with Blue Oval Automotive, and his new teammate just ahead of him, the defending winner of the Daytona 500. Now, I know that probably getting tired of me bringing up this fact, but it is historical. Chris Dollerton, despite winning the Daytona 500 last year, did not advance into the playoffs. He wasn't inside the top 30 in the point standings at the conclusion of the regular season, making him the first driver to win the Daytona 500 but not battle for the championship. He'll look to right that wrong, and so he'll look to be a back-to-back Daytona 500 winner tomorrow. James Quall is one of the more consistent drivers last season. He finished, I believe, 3rd highest in the points of the drivers that didn't advance into the playoffs. The only reason that he didn't make it to the playoffs was because he didn't find victory lane. Otherwise, he would have been locked in like a number of other drivers that got last-minute victories, like Charles Sanford and Ryan Butcher. They were consistent but hadn't found victory lane up until about 5 races prior to the end of the regular season. Well, with this new points format, if Qualls can remain consistent again this year, he'll be in the playoffs, win or no win. There's Fogler and Sanford. We saw the 2 of them come to pit road together earlier, and now they're out on track together. Right now, Fogler 11th on the board, Charles Sanford 23rd. Ryan Butcher 8th on the board. He's out by himself right now. There's a big pack. Dylan Young is still the fastest car. 43.039 is the lap time people have to beat. However, the driver they're gunning for at this point in time is Zachary Fitzwater, who is sitting 5th behind Gunther, Ormond, Shelton, and Young. 43.255 is what drivers have to beat to be able to advance into the next round of qualifying. We'll keep our camera focused on the 66. See if that position number 5 that we're looking at here, if that changes at all, as they're carrying over 200 miles per hour in the corners here. 204, steady 204 all the way through 1 and 2, up to 205 down the back straightaway. We'll see if it eclipses that as they enter down towards turn number 3. Speeds might be a little bit slower tomorrow in the 500 since we'll be running during the afternoon daytime conditions. And don't forget that later on tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, it's the first race for the Duracell Ultra Light Series here from Daytona, as they're going to go nighttime racing. There'll be a lot of rubber laid down here with these qualifying sessions for them as well. So we could see some pretty high speeds out of the lights drivers. Still 5th position for Zachary Fitzwater. That last time by in this pack, he ran a 44.0. Not sure if this group can generate enough speed towards the back for a driver to be able to knock Zachary Fitzwater out of the top 5. About little less than 6 minutes to do so. Let's highlight a couple of the drivers that are in this pack. Jessica Shelton looked really strong in her qualifying session at the Clash last week at Slinger. Also looked really strong in the race before she ended up kind of getting dropped back through the field. But that Dodge Intrepid project car of S3 Motorsports going to be a lot of fun to watch and see how it does during the course of the season. There was a lot of question marks, a lot of curiosity around when Nick Gunther had the project Mazda for Fortnite Squad Racing last year, and obviously that worked out favorably with 4 trips to victory lane, advancing into the playoffs. Granted, he only made it into the round of 12, did not advance any further than that, but he hit a hard round of 12 as well in terms of finishing results. I think he had 1 DNF and then 1 finish way down in the running order. He finished dead last, if I remember correctly, in the elimination race, which pretty much put the nail in the coffin for his championship hopes. Mazda going to have 2 drivers out in the 500 this year. We'll see Anthony McCrory in the second session. Some other drivers we'll see in that second session include Cole Deaver, Levi McIntyre, Dylan Pote, Jesse Turner, Ryan Brommer, the aforementioned Anthony McCurry, and also former Daytona 500 winner in Carson Gum will be in that second group, as well as the 6 non-charter drivers who are going to be duking it out for the final 2 spots in the Daytona 500. The 2 available spots for the non-charter drivers to race their way in on time, and all 6 of those drivers will be in the next session. Now, Fitzwater continues to sit 5th. I think now these drivers are just out here practicing maybe race trim. Laura Chung in the middle here, all by herself, but trying to hold court as Rob Evans is coming to pit road. I'll be a little surprised if we see anybody else jump up into the top 5. I think Dylan Young, Jessica Shelton, Nathan Norman, Nick Gunther, and Zachary Fitzwater might be safe here in this first round to advance into the final round of qualifying to run for the pole position. We'll wait and see, though. If that is the case, then it's going to be a Ford, a Dodge, a Ford, a Mazda, and a Chevy that'll be moving on to the final round of qualifying. Toyota, as of this time, not represented up inside of the top 5. Closest one is Ryan Butcher in 8th. Laura Chung is 13th, and Matt Haas just got displaced. He was 20th, and he just got dropped down to 22nd. Some drivers I'm seeing down there in the running order that look like they'll be starting pretty deep in the field for the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Keith Batson, Charles Sanford, Jose Mills, Matt Haas, James Qualls, Chris Dollerton. Right now, those drivers are all scheduled to roll off the grid outside of the top 30. Got a pack of 4 here. About to become a pack of 3 as Mitchell Collins is heading for pit road. We're less than almost 2 minutes left in the session, so I think a lot of drivers are now throwing in the towel. They're coming to pit road. Some drivers out here just trying to log some laps, figure out what their car feels like in the draft. Maybe do a long run, see what it's like with handling as the tires wear down. Again, though, I'm not sure exactly all of what you're able to learn here on what the car is going to feel like in terms of handling, because it's going to be a lot less grip when we got the Florida sun beaten down on this racetrack tomorrow afternoon, when these drivers will take the green flag at 2 o'clock. Dollerton, wait a minute. Dollerton might be able to get a tow draft lap here. Let's see. He's got a minute and a half to do it. There's a pack up ahead of him here. Can he get a tow off the back of the 39? Dollerton might have last-minute thoughts here about getting into the final round of qualifying. Is he close enough to be able to get a whiff of draft off of the 39 or the 78? He might have another lap that he can work with as well if he's not able to do it this time. He's looking to beat a 2.55 held by Zachary Fitzwater. Looks like he is visibly closing in on the 39. Let's see this time by. Lap time is 44.0. That's not going to do it. It's got to be a lot faster than that. If they race double wide up ahead of him, he might have enough of a chance. I don't know. That 44.0 has him sitting in 19th on the board. He actually just got beaten by Matt Haas. Matt Haas just jumped up to 16th from 22nd, so he gained some spots. He'll start up a little bit further in the grid for the 500. There's Matt Haas actually right there in the 8. What about this time for Dollarton? He's trying to get in the draft of the 8 car. Maybe Matt Haas might have something here. Let's see. Dollarton, nope, no improvement. Matt Haas, no improvement. I thought some of these guys might have a chance. All right, let's follow the 43. He's got one more shot here. I think they cross the line and they'll have one more chance. Oh, Nathan Norman's going to pull up in front of the 83. I think that's going to stall out his momentum. Maybe if Matt Haas can tuck up behind the 83. I don't know if this is going to be enough. He might beat his own lap time of a 43.9, but I don't think he's going to crest a 43.2. Red flag is out. These drivers going to complete their final lap here in this pack, and 43.999 for Chris Dollarton. Not going to be enough. That wasn't even faster than his fastest lap. He was 700ths slower. So it looks like it is officially going to be the 5 drivers that were up inside the top 5 with about 15, well, 10, not that many, not 15, but about 10 minutes remaining in the session. Dylan Young, Jessica Shelton, Nathan Norman, Nick Gunther, and Zachary Fitzwater are going to move on to the final round to compete for the pole position. None of those 5 have ever sat on a Daytona 500 pole here in the Duracell Cup Series, so maybe a first time for them. There you see the session is complete. Let's take a look at the finishing results from this practice session. And this is the way that some of these drivers will end up running in tomorrow's starting grid. Reggie Fogelman, by virtue of being 6th, he will start 11th tomorrow. His teammate Austin Plant will be right behind him in 13th. Ryan Butcher will be 15th. Michael Norman will be 17th. And RJ Bishop will be 19th inside of the top 20. So RJ Bishop will not be a back-to-back pole sitter here for the Great American Race. 21st would be Caleb Fogler. 23rd, Rob Evans. 25th, Laura Chung. 27th, Quentin Moore. 29th will be Kyle Matthews. 30th would be Matt Haas, then 31st back to Matt Haas, then 33rd, Dustin Bolin, 35th, Mitchell Collins. Actually, I believe for some of these drivers, I'm actually saying this incorrectly. I think some of these drivers down around Dustin Bolin on back, they will probably have to be put one after the other rather than in respective rows, because we do have some drivers in the upcoming session, 4 drivers that will actually not make the race. So from down to about Kyle Matthews, I think we can guarantee that Matthews is going to roll off 29th, Matt Haas 31st. But from Dustin Bolin on down, I'm not necessarily certain if they exactly are going to be on the inside of their respective rows. They will make the show, though. All 23 drivers you see on the screen right now, they will be in the main event, Daytona 500, tomorrow afternoon. But they may not necessarily be on the inside of their respective rows, even though they were here in this first qualifying session. But now, it's time to find out, first off, who's going to join Young, Shelton, Orman, Gunther, and Fitzwater in the final round of qualifying to run for the pole. And then we are also going to find out which 2 of our 6 non-charter drivers are going to make their way into the Great American Race on speed. That's coming up right after this quick commercial break. We'll be back to the action here. Qualifying for the Daytona 500 continues here on NNSCRA TV. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing as we get ready for the second half of round 1 of Daytona 500 qualifying. This is going to consist of the drivers that were outside the top 30 in driver points last season, as well as new drivers that didn't race last year and our rookie class. Also the 6 drivers that are going to have to make it in on time. Only 2 of those drivers will make it in. 4 of them will be going home. You'll look on the bottom right of your screen. You'll see those 6 drivers listed, including Kyler Sustre, Benjamin Snyder, Jack Mitchell, Matthew Rodriguez representing Haas Racing, Trey Wright representing Blue Oval Automotive, and Mike Tellier in the Bishop Family Racing entry. Top 5 drivers in this session will advance into the second and final round of qualifying to run for the pole position, joining Dylan Young, Jessica Shelton, Nathan Norman, Nick Gunther, and Zachary Fitzwater, who advanced from the first half of this first round of qualifying just moments ago. Top 2 fastest speeds of the 6 non-charter drivers will advance into the Daytona 500. Of the 23 drivers in this session, 17 are locked into the Daytona 500 via charters. Rookie Casey Hoyt coming out onto the racetrack. There's Cole Deaver back there in the 3. New number for that driver out of S3 Motorsports. There's a look at Matthew Rodriguez, the Steak and Shake Toyota Camry. You can see a number of drivers in that number 80 during the course of the season, trying to qualify for various events. Benny Watson was behind the wheel last week in the clash at Slinger. We'll see Watson back behind the wheel in some other races. Matthew Rodriguez running most of the super speedways this year. Roberto Crown Jr. going to be behind the wheel for a couple of races also. Want to get out there early on in a pack. That is the goal. Helps to put down those early lap times is Will Goss. First full-time season in the Duracell Cup Series by virtue of winning the Showcase Series, the 5 races we ran last year. Bested Zach Rogers by 1 point. Zach Rogers was a 2-time winner in that Showcase Series. We saw Zach Rogers heading out onto the racetrack here in this session as well. So those 2 will get to mix it up with points and a championship on the line here in Season 7. Will Goss running for Rookie of the Year honors as well. Made only a handful of starts back in Season 4 when he ran as a non-charter entry for DCW Racing. So having not met the criteria of maximum number of starts before you are eligible or no longer eligible to be a rookie, Will Goss will be running for the Rookie of the Year honors against Kyler Sustre, Casey Hoyt, and Connor Breton. That is Sustre right ahead of him there in the 4 car. Running full-time this year, which means that Kyler Sustre we will not see eligible for the Duracell Ultra Light Series. They'll be running later on here tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he will have to try and attempt to qualify into every race this year on speed. Some races will be easier than others. Daniel Voiles, 2-time winner last year. First multi-win season for Daniel Voiles, including an incredible run at North Wilkesboro where he started shotgun on the field and fought his way up to pick up the win. Dylan Pote right there as well. We mentioned about Zach Rogers. There he is in that very easy to see neon yellow, neon green Ghost Energy Chevrolet. First time in his career that Zach Rogers has run a Chevrolet. Started out his career in a Dodge for Bulldog Motorsports. He ran a Mazda in the 5 races he took part in last year in the showcase races. Went on to win 2 of them. The first time he's ever been in a Chevrolet Camaro. Matter of fact, both the 2 originals from Bulldog Motorsports and manufacturers now that I don't think they would have expected they were going to be in. We'll actually see that other driver here in this session as Jack Mitchell in the 0-1. Former Duracell Cup Series winner, former playoff driver, but now in a non-charter capacity here. Going to be trying to make a handful of starts this season in Duracell Cup Series, looking to make the Great American Race, and we'll see him later on tonight as he runs full-time in the Duracell Ultralight Series. Connor Breton in this group, running for Rookie of the Year honors, full-time for Northeast Motorsports, right behind his teammate Benjamin Miles, coming off that 3rd place finish last week at Slinger in the Clash. Cody Lamas, Florida native, with his Florida Panthers represented on his Chevrolet Camaro. New number this year for the driver out of Lama Racing. Was the 13 last year, the 84 this year. Last year was a struggle. See if they've got a notebook now, if they'll be able to be a little bit better, more competitive here in Season 7. And behind them, Benjamin Snyder ran full-time last year, ran for Rookie of the Year. Then driving the Ford for Lake Effect Autosport, now in the Benjamin Snyder Racing entry with the Dodge Challenger, trying to lock his way into the Daytona 500 on speed. Another driver also looking to do the same, Trey Wright. Right now 7th on the board for the Boy Scouts of America, number 82 out of Blue Oval Automotive, the team where he won a Daytona 500 back in Season 4. Was then the 28, now the 82, so some inverted numbers as Cody Lamas got a big slipstream off the 82, and he jumps up to 7th on the board. Anthony McCurry, his teammate Nick Gunther, advances into the final round of qualifying, looking to put both Mazdas in. He's 2nd on the board right now. Carson Gum, 4th on the board. A lot of the drivers that right now are up at the top of the speed charts are in this pack. Levi McIntyre, Anthony McCurry, Ryan Brommer, Carson Gum, and Mike Tellier all here. How about Mike? Right now, 5th on the board. The Bishop family racing entry. Ran well last week in the Slinger race as well at the Clash. And trying to advance his way into the Daytona 500 for the first time in his career. Mike Tellier did run along with Anthony McCurry and Nick Gunther in the 3-driver per car season back in Season 5, but he didn't run in the 500. Nick Gunther was the primary driver of the 55 that year, and so Mike Tellier didn't get behind the wheel until 2 races later at Las Vegas. So if he does make it into the show, it'll be the first time that he takes a green flag in the Daytona 500 under the Duracell Cup Series banner, and he went top of the board and then just got displaced down to 2nd by Levi McIntyre. So McIntyre top of the board, and then Tellier 2nd place. The Fords come into play here. Only 2 Fords advanced in the first round of qualifying, Dylan Young and Nathan Ormond. And right now you've got 3 Fords up inside of the top 5 as scoring updates itself. Reese Banks in the 44, right now up in the 4th position. Anthony's Mazda in 3rd. Ryan Brommer's Toyota currently in 5th. But that top 5 seems to constantly be changing here in this pack. Oh boy. Matt McIntyre leading this group, and he might get the slipstream off of Matt Rodriguez. We could see some more good lap times here in just a moment as they're reeling in Rodriguez and Cole Deaver. They just caught Matt McIntyre and Joshua Osborne. Oh, this is going to be a flyer. If Matt McIntyre's momentum doesn't get stifled, this is going to be a flying lap for the 21. Oh, he's out in the clean air, though. That might kill his momentum. Let's see. Mike Tellier might have a flyer, though, staying in the draft of the 21. Let's see if this puts Matt McIntyre up into the top 5. 3rd for Matt McIntyre. 2nd for Mike Tellier. Wow. So now Matt McIntyre is up into the top 5. Let's see who that displaces after scoring updates that should knock, I think, Ryan Brommer out of the top 5. It does. Drops Reese Banks down onto the hot seat in 5th. And this may not be over. There may be more drivers that are going to jump up into the top 5. I want to look at the 80 of Matthew Rodriguez. I think this is a good scenario for him right now, trying to advance his way into the Daytona 500 field. Right now, 15th on the board, and best sit up to 13th now. Looking at the current running order, Mike Tellier second on the board. He may be locked into the 500 on that alone. That 43.9 or 4.97, second place right now. I'll be shocked if anybody's able to knock him out. Remember, he just has to be the second highest non-charter driver in on speed to make it in. And right now, he is top of all of them. Inside of the top 5, might have a chance of running for the pole later on tonight. Right now, the second spot is being held by Benjamin Snyder. Let's find what pack he's in. There he is. 10th on the board right now with a 43.918, though he just got knocked down to 11th. Question is, did he get displaced by a charter driver or a non-charter driver? Let's wait for scoring here, see if it was a non-charter driver. That would knock him out and move whoever displaced him in. Trey Wright's right on his heels. Matthew Rodriguez on his heels. It was Matt Rod who displaced him up to 8th. So now Matthew Rodriguez is in. Benjamin Snyder is out. 43.775 for Matthew Rodriguez. So right now it is Tellier and Rodriguez who would make it into the 500 as things stand right now. But still, 8 minutes to go. Plenty of time for somebody else to be able to make an effort to knock the 80 out. 80's on the hot seat right now because Mike Tellier, I think, could be locked in. Jack Mitchell trying to make something happen with this group. Breeden and Poteet and Rogers, Voiles, Turner. Don't know if they have enough cars, though. Carson Gum running by himself. He's 11th on the board. Trey Wright just jumped up to 9th. Oh, he's about a 10th off of Matthew Rodriguez. Might be Rodriguez versus Wright here for the final transfer spot. Let's see if he's able to best his lap time here. Trey Wright is looking to beat a 7.75. They just lost Benjamin Snyder from this group. And 44.0 there for Trey Wright. Slower lap time. Rodriguez hoping that his 7 will be enough to advance him in. As right now your top 5. Levi McIntyre, Mike Tellier, Matt McIntyre, Ryan Brommer, and Joshua Osborne now moves up into the top 5 in 5th. That knocks Anthony McCrory for the time being out of the Fast 5. How about the Fords? 1, 2, 3, top of the board. With Levi McIntyre, Mike Tellier, Matt McIntyre. We saw both, actually we saw all 3 of those drivers run well in the Clash. I don't remember exactly where they all finished, but Levi and Matt, I believe, finished in the top 5, and Mike, I think, finished inside the top 10. So these Fords are fast at the short track and the big track. As right now, Levi McIntyre is 43.417. Has him top of the board. Casey Hoyt just ran faster. Whoa, he just jumped up to 8th. He was 11th, up to 8th, now down to 9th. 43.699. Cole Deaver up to 7th with a 43.652. Did anybody jump up into the top 5? I don't think they did. Nope, Osborne still holding on to the 5th position. He just ran 2,000 slower than his fastest lap, 6.43 to a 6.41. Matthew Rodriguez trying to get a tow here. As right now, he is the last driver to make it in on speed as things run behind Mike Tellier. Mike Tellier, I think, is locked in. Mike Tellier is worry-free. He's going to race in the 500. It's between Matthew Rodriguez and Trey Wright, really, for that final spot. And there's less than a tenth of a second separating those two in terms of their lap times. Benjamin Snyder returning to the track. Trey Wright's third in this group, but he's only running in the low 44s. Needs to be in a bigger pack. Snyder, I don't think he's going to be able to advance. We've not really even talked about Jack Mitchell or Kyler Sustre. Right now, Sustre is 22nd on the board. Mitchell's leading this group. He is 15th on the board. So I don't think either one of those drivers are going to be able to advance. Trey Wright's got to be in a bigger pack if he's going to put down a fast enough lap time. Deaver just jumped up into the top 5. 43.610 puts him 4th on the board. I believe that knocked out Joshua Osborne. Yes, it did. These drivers right up here in this pack, they're all really right now in these final 4 minutes. They're fighting to see who's going to be moving on to that second and final round to fight for the pole position. Right now, Ryan Brommer on the hot seat in 5th. No Toyota advanced into the Fast 5 in the first session. So Brommer could be the lone driver unless he gets displaced. At time by, he still remains in 5th position. Casey Hoyt's now up to 9th. For a number of these drivers, too, it's an opportunity to advance their way higher in the starting grid for tomorrow's race, since they know they're already locked in. Casey Hoyt, right now, 9th, means that he would take the green flag tomorrow in 18th. Cole Deaver with a big run on the bottom with Mike Tellier and Reese Banks. About the 44. That run right there, could that be enough to move him back into the Fast 5? Matt McIntyre moves down behind him. Let's see if he beats his own lap time. No, a tenth slower. Looks like Brommer still holds the 5th position. Yes, he does. A lot of movement right now. Matthew Rodriguez, really surprised he hasn't beaten his own lap time, because with him racing double wide 3 ride, he's getting a big toe on these drivers. But that last time around, he was 5/100 slower than his fastest lap, but still 10th on the board. It's where he needs to be. Doesn't look like he's in danger. None of the other non-charter drivers that are behind him are in big enough packs to look like they would pose a threat. Let's see if Matt Rod pads it this time, and no, he's actually slower again, slower than the previous lap. I guess the combination is you need to not only be in somebody's draft, but you need to have somebody pushing you as well. I think maybe that's where you get that optimal speed, that optimal draft lap, which none of the 10 drivers that advance into the final round will have the benefit of. They'll be going out for single car qualifying. It's going to come down to raw speed, not just how you're able to manipulate the draft. Ryan Brommer still 5th on the board, behind Cole Deaver, Matt McIntyre, Mike Tellier, and Levi McIntyre. As things stand right now, this means that 2 of the S3 Motorsports cars will be represented in the Final 4. 2 of the Michael Norman Motorsports entries will be in the Final 4. The 17 out of Bishop Family Racing is a satellite team in conglomeration with Young Motorsports, so I guess by that right you could say 2 of the Young Motorsports cars would be moving on to the Final 4 as well. And then you'd have the Mazda of Nick Gunther, Chevrolet of Zachary Fitzwater, the Toyota of Ryan Brommer, and the Ford of Levi McIntyre. Looking at a car right in the middle of the pack in Matt McIntyre. Things I think are just too wadded up right now. That last time by, Matt McIntyre was 7/10 slower than his fastest lap. So I think either the grip has gone away in these tires, or the pack is just too close together for them to be able to get the big runs, the big slipstreams, to be able to put down fast lap times. So I think that more than likely, nobody from that big pack there will be bettering the lap times they've already previously put down. Time very quickly running out for Jack Mitchell, Kyler Sustre, Benjamin Snyder, and their hopes of advancing into the 500. There is Snyder. Trey Wright So close. Matthew Rodriguez a 7.75, Trey Wright an 8.56. 8/100ths difference between making the show or not. So it looks like the former Daytona 500 winner will not be getting that Ford into the grid. Benjamin Snyder 14th on the board with a 9.13. Oh, and we got a wreck up here. Oh, no. Levi McIntyre involved in that, along with Zach Rogers and Anthony McCrory. And why that's important is these drivers, if they sustained enough damage where they have to go to a backup car, especially with the fact that Levi McIntyre is scheduled to advance into the next round, damage doesn't look too bad on any of these machines, but if you have to go to a backup car, then you forfeit where you were scheduled to be. Rogers was 18th on the board, McCrory was 7th, and Levi was obviously top of the board. Didn't look like a whole lot of damage on the 99, so maybe he's okay. Well, let's take a look at the finishing qualifying results from the second half of the first session. Levi McIntyre top of the board, 43.417. That is surprisingly slower than what we had in the first session. If Levi put that qualifying lap down back in the first session, that would have only garnered him 9th place. They ran 43 O's and 43 1s to advance into the top 5 back in the first half of the first session. But McIntyre, Mike Tellier, Levi McIntyre, Cole Deaver, and Ryan Brommer, they're going to be the Fast 5 here in session number 2. And they will join the Fast 5 from the first session to run for the pole position for the Great American Race for all 5 of those drivers. None of them have ever sat on a Daytona 500 pole, so we are guaranteed a brand new pole sitter here in Season 7 for the Daytona 500. Joshua Osborne, by finishing 6th, he will start 12th for the Daytona 500. Jury is out on the damage on that 61 of Anthony McCrory. If they are able to repair it and he doesn't have to go a backup car, he would start 14th. Reese Banks would be 16th. Casey Hoyt would be 18th. And Matthew Rodriguez, he advances into the 500 along with Mike Tellier. So Matt Rod would start 20th. So missing out on the 500 this year will be Trey Wright, Benjamin Snyder, Jack Mitchell, and Kyler Sustre. A few of those drivers we'll see trying again next week and in the coming weeks. But how about Mike Tellier? Had to race his way in on time, and now he's got a chance of maybe being the pole sitter for the Daytona 500 as a non-charter entry. 9 other drivers, though, will look to do the same, and we'll be bringing you coverage of that. The final round of qualifying, your Fast 10 single car qualifying, coming up here in just a few moments after this commercial break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. We welcome you back to Daytona. It's time to run for the pole, the Fast 5 from the 2 previous sessions. Getting ready to head out, single car qualifying. Fastest car will start on the pole. Subsequently, the lap times will garner the first 5 rows for tomorrow's Great American Race as we kick things off with the driver that put down the slowest lap time of the 10. The Toyota of Ryan Brommer out of Auto Junction Racing. Clocked in with a 43.627. We're not expecting any of these cars to get up into the lap times that were laid down in the 2 previous sessions since draft came into play with single car qualifying. They will be infinitely slower. Ryan Brommer going about 188 into turn 1 when they were going about 204, 205 in the draft, so it's going to be much different. See him running the top side there. I don't think you're going to see many drivers running the bottom. Top side seems to be where it's at here, at least under the nighttime conditions. Ryan Brommer is on his lap. He had his get up to speed lap, took the green flag from off pit road, which is also important, getting off pit road, getting that launch. Ryan Brommer's going to set the benchmark here for the other 9 drivers to try and beat. Coming around to the line, and it is going to be a 48.063. So that was his warm-up lap. Let's see what he's going to be able to do here on the second lap. Interesting to see how much pickup there is between the first lap and the second lap. I mean, you compare that right now to the lap time he put down in the first qualifying session. That is 5 seconds slower. So that just shows the prevalence of the draft that we'll see tomorrow afternoon. Here it is. Here's the money lap. And how much of a pickup do we have? Ooh, pretty good pickup there. 47.994 for Ryan Brommer. So that sets down the gauntlet for the other drivers to try and beat. We'll see if it holds up. So that'll bring up Cole Deaver. New number, the legendary number 3. Started out his career in the 08 for S3 Motorsports. Cole Deaver, 43.610, 4th fastest in the second half of the first round of qualifying. One of only 2 Chevrolets that advanced into the Fast 10 here tonight as well. Zachary Fitzwater being the other. Cole Deaver was a multi-time winner back in Season 4, which I believe was his rookie season. And he has been winless ever since. Looking to try and get back into victory lane. How cool would it be if the 3 goes to victory lane in the Daytona 500 here in the Duracell Cup Series? Coming around for his first timed lap. Heading on to the money lap. 47.331 for Cole Deaver. And that is just his warm-up lap. That blows Ryan Brommer's money lap out of the water. His money lap is a 47.994. I think he had a 48.0 on his warm-up lap. So Cole Deaver, he is a man on a mission. And this is what is cool about the final round of qualifying. You see how cars are fast in the draft. You don't know what they're able to garner in terms of speed on their own, and we're seeing it right here. I mean, Deaver just ran a lap time that I think probably would have put him up in the range of the drivers where they ran in the first half of the first round of qualifying. 47.239, no contest. Cole Deaver right now top of the board. Does anybody have anything for him? Because that is a lightning fast lap time in single car speed. Maybe it'll be Matt McIntyre, the first of the Blue Ovals to head out onto the racetrack. 5 Fords advanced into the final 10. So a 50% chance. Pretty good that a Ford may capture the pole position, but boy, that 47.239 of Cole Deaver, that is a lightning fast lap time. We'll see. Does Matt McIntyre have anything for him? Matt McIntyre was faster than him, obviously, in the second group of the first round of qualifying at a 43.541. But again, with it being in draft, you don't know just exactly how good the cars are in single car speed until you put them out there all by themselves. Matt McIntyre, I don't know if that was necessarily fast or not. He only got up to 186, 187 going into turn 3. I think we even saw Ryan Brommer get up to 188 in single car speed. Let's see what the warm-up lap is here for Matt McIntyre. .497. Yeah, that's about 4/10, almost a half second off of the warm-up lap that Ryan Brommer put down. So this is, I don't think this is going to be anywhere close to challenging for the pole. .187 down the back straightaway here, so may have a bit of pickup. Don't think he's going to get Cole Deaver. He may be able to best Ryan Brommer's 994, but we'll see. He's got to pick up about 3/4 tenths of a second, though, in order to do it. And he will clock in at a, oh, wow. Not even really that much of a pickup there. Only gained about maybe a tenth on what he had done before. 48.387 for Matt McIntyre. So that won't get the pole. That may have him starting in the latter half of the top 10. We'll have to wait and see. Next up is Mike Tellier, the second of the Fords to head out there. And Mike Tellier has already won the day. He's locked into the 500 on speed. Now he gets an extra bonus of trying to run for the pole position. Going back to the lap time there for Matt McIntyre, let's not forget, too, some drivers may have set their car up for race trim, not for qualifying trim, to be able to utilize the drive to get themselves up into the Fast 10. I think that might have been the case there for Matt McIntyre, because you look and there's like over a second difference between him and Cole Deaver. I think Deaver was set up in qualifying trim, Matt McIntyre was set up in race trim. They accomplished the goal for Matt McIntyre, got him that he's at least going to start up inside the top 10 for tomorrow's Great American Race, so we may end up seeing some huge fluctuations in speed between drivers here, because I will make the disclaimer, cars are on equal ratings, track conditions are exactly the same in terms of conditions. There is no fluctuating of temperature or anything like that, so everything is equal. As Mike Tellier, 190 out of turn 4, and to the start-finish line, 47.584. I think we've got ourselves a contender for the pole. Going to have to pick up about 2.5 tenths here on this money lap. Can he do it? We've never had a non-charter driver sit on the pole for the Great American Race. Season 7 could be the first. 190 again going into turn number 3, holding 189 up there on the top side. Looks to get the straight line off of 4. Looking to beat a 47.239. Mike Tellier clocks in. 47.512. Not going to get the pole position. Solid lap there, though, for Mike Tellier. Puts him second on the board, at least for the time being. The evening just continues to get better for that team out of Bishop Family Racing. So some good news for a few drivers coming out of the first qualifying session. You see Levi McIntyre out there on the racetrack, fastest in Group B in the first round, but was involved in an incident in the closing stages. And we were wondering how bad the damage was on that machine. They did a little bit of repair. NNSCRA officials allowed them to do so. It was mostly body work. Nothing mechanical was changed. So Levi's got a chance to run for the pole here. Will not have to go to a backup car. The other drivers involved we're hearing, Anthony McCurry and Zach Rogers, same deal. Going to be some cosmetic damage that they'll have to repair. Nothing major. They will not have to go to backup cars. So that's good news for those drivers, as they won't have to give up on the case of Anthony McCurry and Levi McIntyre track position. Zach Rogers didn't have a super fast lap time back in round 1 Group B, but will not have to start deeper in the field than where he originally was going to be, as Levi come into the line here to complete the warm-up lap. He's not nearly turning the RPMs that Mike Tellier was. About 186, 187 at the start-finish line, 48.520. His first lap here. He might have enough to be able to best Matt McIntyre, but I don't think he's going to have enough of a pickup where he'll be able to crack into the 47s. So right now he is tracking 4th of the 5 drivers that have gone out so far. Levi was the fastest in Group B, but is the 5th one going out. The remaining 5 drivers will all be from Group A. As Group A's lap times were infinitely much faster than Group B's. Levi McIntyre comes around, and he will clock in at a 48.409. So he will actually not get Matt McIntyre. Levi will be 5th of the 5 drivers taking time at this point. So not able to follow up the fastest lap time he had in Group B round 1. Right now he would sit potentially 10th for tomorrow's Daytona 500. Zachary Fitzwater, last year's Rookie of the Year, going to be the last of the Chevrolets to go out here. Already Chevy at the top of the board with Cole Deaver. Fitzwater will look to make it an all Chevrolet front row, but very slow coming to the green flag to start the warm-up lap. He was 183 at the stripe, 184 going into the corner, so I don't think this is going to be a lightning fast lap time. In fact, this is tracking slower than Levi McIntyre, who right now is last on the board at the 48.4. 185 down this back straightaway. Zachary Fitzwater ran a 43.255, 5th quickest in Group A of round 1. As mentioned, Rookie of the Year last year. Made his way into the playoffs, winning at the Yard of Bricks, the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 48.818. The warm-up lap for Zachary Fitzwater. So yeah, this is definitely tracking 6th. But last year, Fitzwater, after he got into the playoffs, struggled in the first round, did not advance past the round of 16, but won Rookie of the Year by a sizable margin, 27 points over his nearest competitor, Laura Chung. Big reason for that, he was tied for 3rd most top 10s on the year, 13 top 10s. Only behind Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, and was tied with Michael Norman at 13 top 10s. So consistency. Had a 18th place average finish during the course of the year, as he's going to come around and cross the line 48 rather, 709. That's 0.3 slower than Levi McIntyre's lap. So obviously this car was built for race pace in the Q session, not for qualifying speed. So Zachary Fitzwater right now sits 6th. Well, obviously it's a very young season, but the momentum has certainly been in the corner of Nick Gunther. Won his qualifying heat as well as the clash last week. Advances in the Fast 5 in Group A round 1, and now looks to see if he can put his Mazda on the pole position as he crossed the stripe at 188. Tracking somewhat similar to Mike Tellier, who right now is 2nd on the board. See if he's got anything for Cole Deaver, who right now sits atop the standings at a 47.239. Gunther flirting with 191 right there going into turn number 3, so he might have something here for Cole Deaver. Let's see what his warm-up lap is. I think Deaver's warm-up lap was a 47.5 or a 47.4. I can't remember which. If Gunther's in the same vicinity, he might have something to say about this pole position. To the line, 47.475. I think that's right around what Deaver ran for his warm-up lap. Let's see if Nick Gunther can put the Mazda on the pole for the first time in Duracell Cup Series history. See if we can get up to 191 again here on the back straight at 190 off of 2. Just now, hitting 191 about midway down the back straightaway. This is going to be close. It's going to be super close here between, I think, Gunther and Deaver. 3 and 4 has got to be perfect for the 55. Nick Gunther last season, 4 trips to victory lane, 2 pole positions. Looking for 1 here to start off season 7, and not going to get it. 394, 47.394 for Nick Gunther. That'll put him 2nd, so right now he would share the front row with Cole Deaver. Boy, that lap looked really good, and if that came up more than a tenth short on Cole Deaver. I don't think anybody's got anything for the 3. Nathan Ormond going to be the next to last chance for Ford to try and break up onto the front row. Tracking good here, coming to the start finish line, 190. 191 exiting out of the tri-oval, the Disney Plus Ford Mustang, now with Michael Norman Motorsports. Could be the career turn that Nathan Norman needs. You look at Michael Norman Motorsports last season, Michael Norman, 3 trips to victory lane. Rick Johnson got his first career win. Mitchell Collins, 2 trips to victory lane. That team was strong last year. And maybe, just maybe, Nathan Ormond will be able to break back into victory lane as he's 192 off of turn number 4. What did Gunther have? A 4.75 as his warm-up lap? 40. Oh my gosh. Nathan Ormond just put down a 47.018 for his warm-up lap. He might hit the 46s here on the money lap. Working a little Disney magic there as Nathan Ormond, who his qualifying lap back in the Group A round 1 was a 43.143. I think he's going to hit the 46s. 192 going into turn number 3. How about Nathan Ormond? So far, the Fords haven't looked all that speedy. Mike Tellier, the highest of them, was 3rd of the 7 that have already taken time. The McIntyre's down there in 5th and 6th, but Nathan Ormond, top of the board, 46.942 for the number 23. Nathan Ormond could very well, with that lap time, be leading us to the green tomorrow in the Daytona 500. What a lap. I'm just in shock with that lap time, but maybe Jessica Shelton will have something to say about it. The Project Dodge Intrepid out of S3 Motorsports. I went back and looked just a moment ago. If Nathan Ormond's able to hold on, it will be the 3rd pole position for Ford here in the Daytona 500, 3rd in the last 4 seasons, and back-to-back for the Blue Oval off of R.J. Bishop's pole last year. I'm observing some of these drivers, what they're doing on their up to speed, coming to their warm-up lap. Jessica Shelton shifted up to 4th gear a couple hundred feet later than most other drivers have. She was almost into turn 3 already when she shifted into 4th gear. Tracking a little slow here, not currently tracking towards the pole. 189 coming off of turn number 4. Jessica Shelton trying to see if she can help the effort of S3 Motorsports, winning 3 championships in a row. They won the championship back in Season 5 with Kyle Matthews, Caleb Fogler, and Stephen Pollard III, and then Charles Sanford, of course, the defending champion. Cole Deaver has looked fast here tonight, currently sitting 2nd on the board, and Jessica Shelton, who ran a 47.896 for her warm-up lap. She's en route right now to at least be up inside of the top 5, maybe right behind Mike Tellier, right between Tellier and Brommer, depending on how good this second lap is. Only Dodge that'll be in the Daytona 500 field. Benjamin Snyder failing to qualify earlier on tonight for the Great American Race, and 47.810 for Jessica Shelton. So that will slot her into the 5th position for right now. Got to be a win for Jessica Shelton with this unknown of this Dodge to even make it into the Fast 10, let alone maybe start top 5 for tomorrow's 500. So it's all down to this man, Dylan Young, who ran the fastest lap we'll see tonight, 43.039 back in Group A of round 1. Dylan Young trying to, if not get the pole position, make it an all-blue oval front row. If Dylan Young is able to get the pole position, it would be the first time in Duracell Cup Series history that a team, an organization, has won the pole in back-to-back seasons. R.J. Bishop, the defending pole sitter, was driving for Young Motorsports last year. is not, at least at the initial warm-up lap, looking like this is tracking towards the pole, let alone the front row. About 187, 188 through the corners. Going to have to pick up a lot more here off of turn 4 to be able to put down a good money lap. About 188, 189 at the start-finish line. 47.946 right now for Dylan Young. This is tracking around 6th place for the driver of the 2. So I think that safely has Nathan Norman and Cole Deaver as your front row for tomorrow's Daytona 500. Again, reminder, be sure to stay tuned later on this evening, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Light Series having their first race of the season here under the lights at Daytona. And then tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's the 7th annual running of the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series Great American Race as Dylan Young clocks in 47.873. So he will slot into 6th position behind Jessica Shelton. And that is going to do it for our qualifying session here tonight. Nathan Ormond, the pole sitter for the Daytona 500, 46.942, the only driver of the Fast 10 to eclipse the 47 lap bracket. Well done to him. Congratulations, as he will be alongside of Cole Deaver for tomorrow's front row. Nick Gunther's Mazda going to be alongside of Mike Tellier, who was a go-or-go-homer, advanced his way not only into the 500 but into the top 10. He'll start in 4th. Jessica Shelton shares row number 3 with Dylan Young. And Ryan Brommer, Matt McIntyre will be row 4. Levi McIntyre, who was the fastest in Group B of round 1, will bring up 9th, with Zachary Fitzwater completing the top 10. As you see the rest of the starting lineup for tomorrow's Daytona 500. Some big names going to be starting pretty deep in the field, trying to work their way up to the front during the course of the race. And then, of course, our 4 go-or-go-home drivers that did not advance into tomorrow's main event. Trey Wright, as well as Benjamin Snyder, Tyler Sustre, and I might just blanked out, but you see it on your screen. I don't remember who the other driver was. The 2 drivers that do advance, though, are Mike Tellier and Matthew Rodriguez. So congratulations once again to Nathan Ormond, Cole Deaver, your front row for tomorrow's Great American Race. Again, be sure to tune in later on tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The NNSCRA Duracell Light Series drivers will be rolling out onto pit road in preparation for their first race of the season. And then tomorrow, the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series kick off their season with the Daytona 500 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But thank you all for tuning in to tonight's qualifying session here from Daytona. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become a part of the crew today. If you're on your phone, be sure to hit that bell to be notified when these broadcasts take place during the course of Season 7. And until later on tonight, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.